Episode 227 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded March 6, 2019. Lovin Spoonful.
Believe in magic. That's all the words I know.
Ooh. Folks, we are talking about magic.
Yes.
Do-up style.
The magic of magicians, the
Yep.
magic of dragons, the magic of love.
The magic of love. The Lovin Spoonful.
Love and government bureaucracy.
This week we're talking about The Magicians, which is on Netflix right now. That's not originally on Netflix,
It's a
though.
sci-fi
no,
show.
it's on Sci-Fi Channel.
Season 4 just wrapped on Sci-Fi, I believe?
Season 4, it's in the middle. I think
Okay,
we were on maybe episode 6, 7,
Okay.
8.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Dragon Prince, which its second season just came out over on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about Whisky Cavalier, the action romance comedy over on ABC that Randy's smitten with.
Brought by my boy Bill Lawrence.
You are just so
Jason Bourne
smiley right now.
Scrubs, Cougar Town.
All right.
Something else I've forgotten.
We'll discuss this. Folks, we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
And I'm Kyle.
And let's just dive right into this because The Magicians is a show that I know Les has been talking about for a while, but Kyle
Oh,
has
my
also
gosh.
been on this show.
I've been dying to talk to Les about this.
I know, and then Les was supposed to be here.
Then
and
less apparated out. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
he
Yeah.
He put on his cloak of invisibility and peace out.
he got into the tomb of the unknown soldier. That's not the magic trick.
No, that's a different thing.
Not the magic
That is
trick.
not the magic trick.
Yeah, it's not magic.
And there's just people mourning him.
Actually, the truth is, Les is not here because he's been blacklisted by the Magicians Union, and we were told that we could not play an
Yeah.
episode with Les on it because he revealed how you do your tricks, and he's a fucking traitor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty serious about that. Well, no. I think I got it covered. I think I can jump in here and do the due diligence.
All right,
So
good.
I don't know much about this show.
All right.
I know that it's an adult version of this school of magicians like Harry Potter-esque.
A little bit. So when you look at all the marketing for it, it looks like adult, gritty Harry Potter, but it's really adult, gritty Chronicles of Narnia. I think a better name for this show would be something like The Magic Technicians or like The Mechanic Magicians or something like that, because it's
You should not name shows.
yeah, I know. I know.
Have you
We've gone
seen
through
The
this before.
Mechanic Magicians?
Have you seen The Mechanic? Blah, 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 blah. But no, yeah. It's very much more about this relationship with this other realm, and then they get into more realms. And then, honestly, it just has gone full Doctor Who at this point, where there's other timelines and different dimensions. And pretty much any type of genre lore that you can think of has been incorporated into the show somehow. So when we started at the beginning of season 4, we got this amazing folk indie rock season 3 recap video. Did you guys watch that?
No.
Before this season even started. So they recapped the entire previous season with a 2-minute long acoustic pop song. And it was awesome. I was singing. I had this thing stuck in my head for weeks leading up to the show. And
Really?
it was reminding me what happened in the previous season too, which is kind of nice. But no, at the end of last season, in kind of the big finale twist, one of the main characters, Elliot, is possessed by this evil demon god who has no, appreciation for life and is just
Suicide
kind of
Squad
on a,
movie. Yeah, okay.
Actually, yeah, a little bit.
It's Enchantress.
But they get way more intimate with it, where he's interacting with all the characters in very serious ways. But this is not their friend anymore. And for a majority of the season, by the way, I'm going to do a little spoilers for season 4. If you are big into the Magicians and you want to catch up before you listen to this, I advise it. But yeah, like into the season, we're not sure if Elliot's alive or if he's dead. The monster straight up tells us, no, I killed him. I'm just using his body. And it gets really serious, and you get to see kind of like how these different characters react in that situation. Characters like Margot, who we thought were his best friend. We see her pretty upset, but she kind of goes on with like her own story this season. And then Quentin, who in last season, another big spoiler here, they did this phenomenal episode where they essentially a story where Quentin and Elliot ended up in a situation they were never going to get out of. And they had to spend the rest of their lives kind of at the end of the road. And they do a time lapse of these two growing old together and dying. And then once one of them dies, this like little piece that they needed to find like appears. And like on their deathbed, they're able to give the piece to like the younger versions of themselves. And then the timeline continued. But it's these two, Quentin, who's bisexual, and Elliot, who's homosexual. Like the two of them kind of fall in love, and it's a little more complicated than that. But the episode ends with kind of the two of them hinting like, well, maybe we could, if we could go that long together, like why not give it a shot? And we learn later in this season that that's actually this huge regret that Elliot has kind of stored deep down inside, is that he can't. That, you know, when Quentin was like, hey, you know, let's maybe do this, he was like, no, don't be silly. You don't want to do that. Like, but really, he's like totally in love with his best friend. And I think that might be where the season's kind of building. A couple other high points real quick. Santa Claus in this season. Oh, so one of the main characters, her name is skipping me right now, but she's kind of locked up with the evil librarians, and the guy in the cell next to her is fucking Santa Claus.
Santa's real?
Oh, yeah. Well, it explains, like, he has the magic to, like, go up chimneys and stuff, so they need to escape. So who better to, like, get through a magical chimney and shit than Santa Claus?
Santa Claus's escape artist is pretty solid. I got to give him that.
Yeah, and he was very much like a union guy. Like, I really loved how they did that. Then one of the most despicable characters from the first season, and I hate even telling you guys this because, well, let's see. Okay, I won't spoil it for you guys.
Look, Ben Linus turns out to be a good guy.
That is an interesting read.
Well, no, they have a character in the first season who is kind of beloved to all of our main cast, who we find out is just a straight-up pedophile, who's like, we get a kind of a telling of his history, and we find out he was straight up raping this little boy.
That's messed up.
Yeah, and
damn,
in one of these alternate dimensions, they find him. And one of our main characters has to go, do I get help from this guy to get out of here? Mm-hmm. You know, or do I tell him to go fuck myself and try to figure out my own thing? And we get to see her.
Himself, not myself.
Yeah. We get to see her kind of like deal with that. No, it's pretty crazy. Real quick, going back down to... we get like a Get Out episode.
There's no time limit here.
There's no time. I have a list of like 40 things, so I'm like, you guys are going to cut me off at some point.
I apologize. I misspoke. There is a time limit. 40 things.
Okay. So one of my favorite characters, probably due in no small part by her supreme hotness, is Margot, a.k.a. Queen Margot, who this season she's kind of rushed back to Fillory, which is like this, you know, otherworldly plane created by these two gods. Long story. Anyways,
I don't know what's going on.
So in Fillory, when you get there, you'll notice like things are kind of great because a certain amount of their atmosphere is actually opium. But they're having a big problem there. Somehow that's been turned up. So now a huge amount of their atmosphere is opium. So like everybody in Fillory just looks cracked out. And they're like, I don't know what's going on. I can't do this.
Like everyone has mono. And,
and you find out that one of the other gods, this party god, whose name is escaping me, Les is so much better at this. But one of these party gods, he's kind of come there to impersonate one of the gods who has left. And yeah, he's just turned the opium up real high so they can just have, you know, big long party benders. So it's kind of funny because it seems like this really serious thing and she has to go through and then it's just like, wait, seriously? This is all it is? Like, stop. Like, quit doing that to my kingdom.
What is this show about?
That's kind of the question I wanted to know. Like, what's the general premise?
What's the conflict?
Are they a bunch of, like, students that are in a war with someone else for...
All right, so the general conflict in the first season, they are introduced to this magic school, all right? Mm-hmm. And it's once they go to the magic school that they find out that this fictional place, this Narnia that they've been reading about in books since they were kids, is a real place. And in the second season, they go there. And they actually become the kings and queens of this fictional kingdom.
Okay.
And season 2 is just like straight up Narnia. So by season 3, we have a show that's running parallel storylines where you have the conflict at the college, like the kind of the Hogwarts, and then the conflict in Fillory, which is kind of like their Narnia. And it all revolves around this big villain / not really villain, the secret organization called the Library that keeps books on everyone. So it's like they know how we're going to die. They know everything that's going to happen. They have like all the books on us. And at the end of last season, last season the big problem was they had pissed the gods off. So
and Elliot was possessed.
Well, before that, they had pissed the gods off and they had turned all magic off.
All right.
So they had gone on this quest to try to find magic, and that's how Elliot had gotten possessed. But the last minute, when they got the magic turned back on, the library came in and put like a tap on it. It's like a literal fountain. Like magic is a fountain, and the gods can turn the spigot if they want. But when they turned it back on, the library put a thing on there, so now they sell the magic. So now this season, like they can't just go around doing their spells and stuff. They have to get these things called Deweys that are like little coins with magic. Get it? Dewey Decimal System because they're librarians.
Okay.
So they got to get little Deweys in order to do magic. And yeah, they have to be sparing. Oh, shit. There's a great episode this season. Sorry, I just keep thinking of stuff. They have a great episode this season where they need to like steal some of these Deweys. So they go to a special magician who makes like forgeries and stuff. And they're like, wait, your forgeries aren't that good. Like, this doesn't even look. And he goes, yeah, but I'm like insanely lucky. That's his magic. Like, as he's at their house, like Publisher Clearinghouse comes up with a giant
he's a
check.
leprechaun, just like in
Supernatural?
American Gods.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. Well, this guy's way luckier than I fucking love that character, by the way. Can't wait for that show to come back. But no, like he's super lucky. So what it is he gives them like all these items that the thing is maybe it's not like the best forgery, but they're going to be so lucky with it. They'll be able to get in, like, you know, cash out a bank account, da-da. But he goes, here's the only problem. While you're drawing all that luck, like you have to put something, you have to give it the bad luck. So, like, there's a teddy bear that has all the bad luck while they're pulling all this, like, good luck in. And one of the characters has to hold on to this teddy bear while, like, shelves are falling over, almost killing him and stuff, like, because if he doesn't take all the bad luck in, like, they're going to get caught trying to rob this bank.
Okay, that's actually pretty interesting.
This does sound to me like a Supernatural type show, like where there's a ton of like continuity and character building and like long form. Mm-hmm. Is there episode of the week style to this, or is it always like big long serial story?
Oh my!
I know it's
just
based on
like
novels.
Doctor Who in the sense where you get these standalones that are just like some of the best sci-fi TV. Like I was saying before, the episode where we get kind of the time lapse of Elliot and Quentin who live an entire life together and then have to die before this quest is over. You get these amazing standalones, and I think the through stories are actually pretty good too. Here is my number one complaint with this show, and something they've actually worked on in season 4 to, I think, their benefit. It's way too fucking sexy. All right?
Yeah.
This show is so sexy. Everybody's having sex. Guys having sex with girls. Girls having sex with girls. Guys having sex with guys. Girls and guys having sex with girls and guys that are actually horse guys and horse girls. Mermen in there.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's having sex. Like every episode. It's like an HBO what's that, Stars? Like Rome?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's like
okay.
one of those shows,
Yeah.
like so gratuitous. And in the first episode this season, one of the characters is getting into a fight with a librarian. And no lie, the line is literally, "Did you read about how hard I came? Did that get you off?" Like they said that in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're in for another one of these. But no, the sex has really been tuned down this season. So I got to say, I'm liking that.
There's also, it sounds like it's sort of queer friendly. Is there trans or that kind of representation as well, or?
I don't know if I would go that far. So there is a bisexual character, but we find out he's bisexual in kind of like a drunken, romance thing.
Yeah,
so you're really wondering about it. Also, the character Elliot, who I keep talking about, who's the homosexual character, he's also very frisky,
Okay.
So you wonder too, did he kind of seduce him? Like what's happening there? But no, I think this season they are really looking, because the thing is, Quentin's in a situation where whether it's a romantic love or not, he loves his friend and he's trying to save his friend's life. And we've gone like 6 episodes where he's had to deal with this like God character in his friend's body, trying to hatch a plan to get rid of this dude.
Well, it sounds really interesting. I know that you and Les have been obsessing about this. So
Yeah. Well, he came in before Christmas and kind of talked to all of us about it and was like, you got to watch this. And one morning found it on Netflix, started it. And I mean, like 2 or 3 episodes in, I was just hooked, just marathoning it.
Let me ask you an important question, Kyle. How British is this show?
It's American.
Okay, all right. I have to correct for that because I don't want another Grand Tour situation.
No, there's British characters, but yeah, the school's in New York.
Okay, fair enough.
And yet you like it. It's not a British show, and yet you like it.
But
I watched a couple non-British
a private
shows.
School full of kids having sex. It's a very British British.
It sounds very British.
They all wear uniforms, right?
There may be a uniform.
Okay, all right.
All right, Randy, tell us about Dragon Prince Season 2.
Okay, so Dragon Prince is by the creators of Avatar: Last Airbender and some of the people who did Legend of Korra.
Okay.
It has some of the same feel of those. It's a big sort of epic story. It looks like it's maybe going to be told across 4 seasons. This is, I think, Book 2, The Moon, maybe. And it is whereas Avatar and Korra are sort of based in sort of Eastern mythology and martial arts and that kind of thing. This is very much a sort of more Euro fantasy. It's kingdoms, and the big conflict is that the human kingdom basically went to war with the elves and the dragons, and the humans sort of stole magic. They use dark magic. They don't use what the elves consider real magic, and the elves are basically the humans can't use magic. If they're using it, they're taking magic from the earth and that kind of thing. And so the thrust of the first season was that this young elf assassin came with a group to kill the king for what he had done to the dragons. And in the course of it, she winds up breaking away with the king's son, the prince. This young kid named Caleb, I think, and Callum, and I don't remember the kid's name. Ezrin. Ezrin's like a younger kid. Callum is a teenager who was adopted, who is like the king's stepson, is not in line for the throne, but was the king's very beloved son. So the two of them and the elf assassin go on the run with this dragon egg. And at the end of first season, this dragon egg hatched, and they have this baby dragon who is the heir to the dragon throne. So they are trying to get back to the dragon kingdoms to get this prince back and restore that balance.
So the dragon is the prince, or the boy is the prince?
They're both princes. So
Two princes?
Two princes.
Is this
it's a Spin Doctor
song?
Yes. They're being hunted by Callum's old flame, sort of like girl he has a crush on, who's now a dark wizard, and her brother, who is this sort of would-be knight, and their father has taken over as like the count back in the town. He's this sort of scheming dude who's trying to rally the humans to war against the dragons. And they're also being tracked by their aunt, who's a general, and who is notably a deaf character, which we don't see a lot of. And she is in this period, she's going down through the Sunrise Elf Kingdoms, which is this badass like volcano land. So that's where that all starts. And basically, this is all like them traveling and trying.
This is your elevator pitch?
No, I don't have an elevator pitch. Hey, Kyle just did 20 minutes on the Magicians.
I got 20 more if you need it.
Anyway, I thought season 1 was good, and I think season 2 is notably better. I think they've developed all the characters, and they really get down on the sort of the road trip nature of these characters. They could find a sea captain. It does the same mix of sort of wild epic magic and sort of goofy humor that I think Avatar did really well. Mm-hmm. For example, elves are sort of not liked in the human kingdom, so their elf has to sort of get around
by hiding his ears.
her ears, and putting on a fake Southern accent, which is hilarious. But they wind up hiring a sea captain who has an eye patch on both eyes.
Oh, no.
And so he doesn't know she's an elf. And he has a parrot that talks and just fully talks. And
it's like Iago. Okay.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff shows up. There's a lot of super fun like that. There's some badass action. This thing opens with their aunt having a battle in the sort of lava kingdom with the sunrise elves. And there's a lot of sort of wushu running on walls and battling with swords. And there's a magic sword that cuts through other swords. And
so this is kind of going like full fantasy, like embracing like these different kingdoms and
absolutely.
fiefdoms of like Middle Earth style, whatever.
And Callum's trying to learn magic, and he's not sure whether he's destined for it or not.
It's elves and the lava people.
There's elves and lava elves, and there's a flashback to their families and sort of some of the history of the world, which has these humans like taking on this giant lava titan thing. Like there's some big epic magic stuff here, which is kind of cool because you don't see a lot of that.
Right.
And I think it's really well done. I really like the animation. I know some people were a little down on the animation. I think it's gotten better this season. And they definitely delve into the characters a little bit too. So we start to see a little bit more about what makes them all tick. I think they do a good job of making the adversaries believable and sympathetic.
How does this hold up to Avatar if we're comparing the two?
We're still not in Avatar. Like I have a huge fondness for Avatar, and I feel like this is not as good as that. But I also
just like fail to like capture like the heart and like the team that you want to like see.
You know what's weird is it totally works. Like the guy who's playing the lead, Callum, is the guy who voiced Sokka, and he's got that same sort of goofy vibe. Like I really like it, but part of it might be sort of rose-tinted glasses. You know, Avatar was such a great, and I know it ends well. Like it was a good 4-season show.
Right.
I don't know how this is going to go. When this ends, I might put it up there with Avatar. Right now, this is a really solid show that people should be watching. But if you haven't seen Avatar, watch Avatar first.
See, that's the thing though. Like when Avatar starts, like a couple episodes in, maybe even that first episode, you're just kind of like, I'm on board with this. Well, maybe not that first episode. It feels like it's a little bit childish and silly.
It takes a little while to get
and
going,
then all of a sudden it's just like, oh no, I'm way too into this. I can't stop watching.
Yeah, this season I think they took another step forward toward becoming Avatar. Like it's getting closer, but I do think it's hard to capture that lightning in a bottle again.
Well, I love how Avatar tackled the 4 elements as being kingdoms, and this one seems to be taking another step in that heroes of might and magic, lords of magic, whatever, these different order versus chaos versus fire versus water kingdoms, whatever. I'm like, expand it.
It's got great characters. There is a story in the tail end where they basically fight an actual dragon, and that is pretty spectacular. So they're definitely doing the kind of – nobody's doing a D&D cartoon, and this is the closest thing we have.
Okay.
So if you're looking for someone like that, this is as close you're going to get to a D&D cartoon.
If we wanted to get far away from a D&D cartoon, would Whisky Cavalier fit the bill?
That is very far away from a D&D cartoon.
Whiskey Cavalier sounds like a show where somebody came up with the name first.
It does.
You mean Bill Lawrence, who doesn't think through titles?
So here's the thing. This is David Hemmingson is the showrunner for this. And I remember when I heard about this, I saw this at ATX Fest. I saw the pilot.
Oh, so I can't shit on Bill Lawrence anymore?
You can't shit on Bill Lawrence anymore.
Friend of the show, Bill Lawrence?
No, I've never talked to him. Bill Lawrence, though, I've liked a lot of what he's done, and I thought it was weird that he was doing what was sort of an action comedy because he doesn't really do. He does comedy.
What does he do? Did he write this?
So I think he was like one of the producers because the showrunner and the head writer is David Hemmingson, who is known for The Catch, which is that bounty hunter show that was on a few seasons ago. That sounds more like in this vein. He worked on Bones. He worked on Uncle Buck. And then, of course, he wrote for Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 and for the short-lived but awesome show Kitchen Confidential. Right. He was a producer on that. So he's got some comedy chops as well, but it sounds a little more like, okay, this guy wanted to venture into action a little bit more. But it definitely has more comedy. It definitely wants to be more of a comedy than an action show, I think.
Oh, yeah. And there's times where I feel like I was like, oh, it's taking itself seriously. And then they go and just crack a joke. And it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I just can't handle shows like this.
The tone, it's so weird.
It feels like it's a by-the-numbers script that's just kind of churned out for these generic, quote-unquote, action shows for network television. And it's all just this cornball formula. Yeah, okay, there's this Mr. and Mrs. Smith like tag team of what if one's from the CIA and one's from the FBI and they hooked up and now they got to work together, and it sounds like
amazing.
It sounds like a manatee in South Park, like generated, or what was the robot? Like, what if there's Adam Sandler is in love with a sock or whatever's the plot of this next movie?
I don't at all disagree with you, actually. I think that this is a by-the-numbers premise, but I think the action was pretty stylish, and I think where it shines is in the two lead performances.
Well, it's all like it's a slick veneer.
Yeah.
Put on something that's all surface level. It's,
I think Scott Foley and Lauren Cohen both have a lot of charm, and the two of them, their relationship, the way they interact, like that is what I think they have the chemistry that you want for a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type show.
They spend the whole first episode just them meeting up and establishing this show will be about these two who are moonlighting, with FBI.
I like their,
That's how a pilot works.
I like their hacker buddies too, though. I like the guy who's like their
Tyler James Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the standouts for me too.
And Veer Das, who's her like besuited her buddy, who's like her tech guy.
Oh yeah,
and
the great bit with the tampons.
Yeah, at the tail end of the episode, we finally get the premise basically, which is that the two of them are now going to be in this task force looking into the secret society. They've got his like FBI mentor and like therapist. And then these two like tech guys, and it's going to be this small knit unit going up against this conspiracy.
And both their partners are dead.
Yeah,
via betrayal of some degree.
I think that there's potential for this to be a fun spy romp every week. I think there's a much greater chance that it's going to be an utterly forgettable formulaic show. But there was enough in the chemistry, and I thought some of the action stuff was good. Like, I thought that the opening where he like catches the virus and lands on his back hard and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought her handcuffing him to the bar and then going out and shooting dudes, like she gets to be a badass. He gets to be a badass.
Those action scenes were done like
it's good
with some money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree, Grant. I think it's very unlikely this is going to be on my best of for the year, or even on my list of shows I finished watching,
or even a show that you remember in 3 weeks.
But I want to give it a second episode because I thought it was a solid pilot, and I'm always looking for the next like Alias or.
It reminds
Chuck.
me of The Blacklist. It's like it dangles this promise, and it just.
It reminds me of Chuck. It just doesn't have that sort of geek bonus.
It reminds you of Chuck.
Yeah.
No.
The notion of sort of the sort of like goofy spying as sort of goofy action. Now it's missing the geek component, which was a huge part of Chuck.
See, I was thinking more lines of like Criminal Minds or Bull, like one of these procedurals, but it's like team procedural.
Yes.
Oh, great.
But he's saying the right thing.
Kyle's making me like it less.
But here's the thing, though.
Make him stop it, Grant.
Those shows have huge appeal to like wide audiences,
but not to me.
And I find myself on little benders. I'll watch a little Criminal Minds.
I'd say if you're like a white male and you're like mid-40s, this is the target demographic.
I am a white male in my mid-40s.
I watched 5 minutes of this. It started with that action sequence where he's like chasing the guy. So I just like, I'm just going to skip ahead to where he catches the vial. And I watched a little bit more until like he runs into Lauren Cohen. And I just went, stop. I'm just going to go ahead and read the wiki synopsis on what this episode is.
You know what that
I'm
scene
done.
reminded me of? Who is that guy from Lost who was in that Mission Impossible movie?
Yeah,
and he did something similar.
But it's way better.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Lost.
But the one in Mission Impossible is way better. Let me ask you this, Grant. If a genie showed up and he was like, maybe it was not a genie. If Jigsaw from the Saw movie showed up and he gave you two TVs,
two very different people,
and he's like, all right, the only way to get out of this room is you have to either watch a season of Whisky Cavalier or the third season of Lethal Weapon TV series. Which one would you watch?
Choose quickly. Your marathon begins.
So I have Whisky Cavalier.
A season of Whisky Cavalier or the third season of Lethal Weapon.
They the same amount of episodes.
Lethal Weapon's probably going to be 36 episodes.
It's the same amount of episodes
for a season.
Can I just die? Y'all know what time it is. It's listener question time. It sounds so sleazy.
I
there.
know. I was like, I didn't know what we were doing.
Hey, ladies, it's listener question time.
Now say it again, but you're at a party and everything's going crazy.
Hey, our first question comes from Jonathan Haptemichael, and this is mainly for Les.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we'll see how
So
this
Les,
question
what do you
goes.
think of this one?
I'll take it. I'll take this question.
On a scale of excited to really excited, how do you feel about the OA Part 2 coming this March?
So I'm going to channel Les here.
Okay.
And as always, when Les is not here and I channel him, this is all legally binding.
Yes.
Les, am so excited about the OA Part 2 because the first season of the OA was really disappointing to me and I really hated it. But I feel like now that I see what they're going to do with Part 2, I'm going to do a dedicated podcast to the OA. I'm going to cover every episode. I'm going to do interviews with everyone involved. And I'm going to do actually special 2-part episodes for every episode of the OA. I'm going to dedicate all my free time to this.
You're going to get an OA tattoo.
I'm going to get an OA tattoo on my forehead.
You are committed.
Yeah. Les, agree to all of this.
Legally binding.
Is this that show that got sold to Pornhub?
What?
You guys remember what I'm talking about? It was on Netflix or Amazon.
Sense8?
Sense8, that's what I'm thinking
No.
of. What? Isn't this like the same thing?
No.
Oh.
I think there was some idea that since Pornhub was going to pick up Sense8 for another thing, but I don't think it actually went through.
Oh.
But no,
pun intended.
The OA.
Nothing came of it.
All right, guys. Let's focus here. We got a question for mainly for Kyle. This is from Jonathan Huffnagel, who says, "Dear TV dudes, The Magician's gotten me in the mood for some more magical-themed fiction. I love super surreal stuff blended with somewhat mundane realism. Doesn't Doom Patrol feel like the network's attempt to recreate the surreal storytelling of Legion? I know it's not as good as Umbrella Academy, but maybe there is still value to it. One of my favorite examples of this is Scott Pilgrim. Just imagine what they could do with Scott Pilgrim, the TV series. What would be your surreal but grounded in near reality? What would your surreal but grounded in near reality superpowers be? And would any of you trump vegan edge?"
What would my superpowers be grounded? I mean, it's got to be the encyclopedic knowledge of comics and games, right?
Yeah, like something that would let you win an argument or show off your knowledge.
Or maybe I can summon kind of like Egg Shen in Big Trouble in Little China. I can summon a little ghostly warrior of any game or comic book character.
Ooh.
I would like to have the ability to drink as much beer as I want, and as I drink the beer, I get smarter, like limitless, until I black out.
I was gonna say,
I get more functionally smart, but if I keep drinking too much, the alcohol's still going to affect me. I'm going to pass out or fall asleep or puke.
you almost do have that power. It's just that the more you drink, you get sort of louder and more inappropriate.
Yes,
It's essentially the same thing.
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's.
You become bold and uninhibited.
This is for everyone. For everyone, I think, Randy.
My superpower would be I would be able to gain special skills by listening to you tell me what you're good at, and I demean it and make it sound like I could do it much easier than you.
No, Cal. Your power is a flawless English accent.
Aw. I need that power.
I could blend in England any moment I wanted.
Or he has a 20-foot radius of England all around him. It's like you walk down the street and everything turns into like tea and crumpet shops, and everyone's wearing bowler hats.
Good day, mate.
No, that's Australia.
Ah, shit.
So here's the thing about the English accents. And maybe this is why I'm such an Anglophile. When you go to England and you walk into like a bar somewhere and you're like, "Hey, can I get a drink?" They look at you and go, "I like your accent," but they say it in their accent, and I'm like,
Wait, how do they say it?
I like your accent. Or, however they talk.
I just want you to do a little
I
bit
like
British
your
accent.
accent, mate.
All right, last question, guys. This comes to us from Darren Bailey, who says, "Hey, dudes, discovered your podcast over a year ago, and since then I followed your recommendations, and you guys have not failed yet. I decided to check out a few of the shows you mentioned on episode 202, namely Hilda and the Dragon Prince, and I freaking loved them, alongside Guillermo del Toro's Troll Hunter series and Young Justice, which I binged watched in 2 weeks. Do you have any more animation shows that would be worth checking out? Keep up the good work, and thank you for bringing some great shows to my attention."
So I want to say, if you have the DC app and you're watching Young Justice and you haven't, probably you've all seen this, but if you haven't, definitely watch Justice League Unlimited. Like, that is a fantastic series. And Batman Brave and the Bold in its own way, very different, but also
I love
great.
that. Yeah.
Batman the animated series?
Batman the Animated Series,
so
Batman,
pretty.
Superman, Justice League, like go through that whole thing. Like all of that is great, and it's all on the DC app, I think.
You know what I think is kind of underrated?
What's that?
The Clone Wars cartoons.
The Clone Wars cartoons
the series,
is great, and Rebels following up too.
Oh, I haven't watched it, but yeah, everybody loves Rebels.
Yeah, those are both really good. Rebels.
It's like by the time Rebels came out, everybody was like, "Oh, we're on board with this." So it's like Rebels is the one that's kind of cool.
And Rebels pays off a lot of the Clone Wars setup. Like there are
Nice.
characters that come back from Clone Wars into Rebels. Like I would definitely, if you like Young Justice and you have an interest in Star Wars, like the same sort of deep character work and plot payoff, that kind of thing happens in Clone Wars and Rebels. Definitely worth a look.
Going on the other side of things, maybe this might be steering you in a different direction, but we haven't failed yet. BoJack Horseman is also on Netflix.
BoJack Horseman's great.
The first season, just give it a little bit because I think they were too afraid to embrace their pathos, so they went a little bit too silly and wacky.
Right.
Before they were like, no, we can be really serious about the struggles with depression and still be funny, and we can blend that a little bit better. And as they go on, each season just gets progressively more powerful and yet still funny.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend that one on Netflix.
And Avatar and Legend of Korra, if you haven't seen them already. Too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and SWAT Cats if you can find it.
Seek out SWAT
And
Cat.
SWAT Cats.
That's some good shit.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Oh, I really only say that so I can get the thanks. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in once again. And hey, if you guys want to support us, please go over to patreon.com/tvdudes. There you can make a per episode pledge and help out this show that you love so dearly so that we don't have to turn off the lights and get more and more high-pitched in the dark.
Governor.
All right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we say when we're done?
TV Dudes out.
And SWAT Cats.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.